I went to Queensland last week, and one thing I was told, I chatted to my friend about was, the meaning of life. And one thing we talked about was, I think a big meaning, and tried to understand what is the meaning of life. And if anyone can help me, please message it through, the meaning of life, because for years I've always been like, what is the meaning of life? Is the meaning of life to make money? Is the meaning of life to live your dream and your dream job? Is the meaning of life to marry someone and have kids? What is the fucking meaning of life? And I've always said that. What is the meaning of life? And one thing this individual told me, and it made me think heavily into, is maybe the meaning of life is helping others. Maybe the meaning of life is helping others and watching them grow to something they love doing, or helping them in their life somehow. Maybe that is the meaning of life. Maybe that's the reason why I was put on this planet, was to educate, to show passion towards training, coaching, and showing people what they can do with a bit of passion. Maybe that's what I was put on the life, because everyone has to have purpose. Everyone should have purpose in life, and they should go after what they want. And I think a lot of people don't do that out of fear of failure, out of fear of what other people think. And if you learn anything today about today's episode, is how I started Woodford, is I literally started this brand of pure passion for what I do. Pure love, pure passion for strength and conditioning, applied strength and conditioning for athletic development, injury reduction, rehab, and just wanting to help coaches become better and be educated in this, and start a movement, and develop this industry, and be the, in my mind, the catalyst behind starting this in Australia and the world as well. Like, being world renowned is pretty cool. When people, even back 5-6 years ago, when I started getting a bit of publicity and people started messaging me from around the world, it was so crazy. When I still remember, Donnie, when someone bought my ebook years ago, when I first started selling ebooks years ago, and there was Dad called me and they go, oh, someone bought it from Sweden. And even back then, hearing that's crazy, to think that someone from around the world bought something that I created. It's just crazy. And for anyone out there, it is possible to do. And when I talk about this story, yeah, it's going to have ups and downs, but it's fucking crazy to think how it started and the idea behind it and why I did it. And yeah, just crazy, like little things like that. So buckle yourself in, because you are in for a fucking story, ladies and gentlemen. Get comfortable, because this is going to be a good ride. So I'm going to start you at the start, at the beginning, the origins, how I started. So just so everyone out there, I started, I've had a passion for fitness or training for years. I still remember, I used to work at SportsMart back when I was 14 years old and 9 months. That's when you could get a job at, big companies. I guess in 14 years and 9 months, right? Anyway, I got a job at SportsMart, and I still remember printing off, so there was bodybuilding magazines there, and I used to print them off. I'd go to the scanner at fucking SportsMart, scan it, laminate it, and put different exercises up all around my wall. Dude, all around my wall in my room back when I was younger. And Mum hated it, because every time I took them down, I'd rip some paint off. And I still remember, she goes, don't put them up because it's going to rip the paint. I can't do my mum's voice very well, but it used to rip the paint. And I had them all. If you saw my room, you'd walk in, and to the left, my full wall was covered. And I was obsessed. I was obsessed with lifting. I was obsessed with bodybuilding. When I say bodybuilders, just bodybuilders in general, like in these magazines, I would be like, holy shit, you can lift weights and look like that? Because I was a skinny kid. I wasn't, I was an ecto. I reckon an ecto-meso. I was a skinny kid. I used to play sports, cricket, football my whole life. I was never a big kid. And I'd see these other kids, and now, back then I didn't know they were obviously genetically gifted, and they hit the genetic lottery at that age. So biologically, they're a lot more advanced biologically than most other kids who are chronologically the same age. So this is where, when you're younger, you can have different chronological biological age. What I mean by that is they're a lot more developed than the kids the same age. And that's why they talk about bio-banding, whether you want kids biologically in the same age group. So what's happening in rugby, if you look at rugby league in Sydney or fucking wherever, these kids are some of these kids are huge. Like these under 10 kids, you got some kids that are 4, 5, like 3 times bigger than these other kids. And they talk about biobanding, where that kid should be playing in higher up and all this bullshit, where instead of just giving an arbitrary number, oh, you're under 9s, you're 8 years old, you should play under 9s. You're 10 years old, you play under 9s. Instead of doing that, they're talking about biobanding. I don't think they overdo it because it's going to take... How would you do that, really? It'd be hard enough trying to tell the parents' kid, your kid is 8 and he's got to play in under 9s with all his friends, but he can't because he's physically more developed biologically, so he's got to play in under 11s. Good luck trying that, so it wouldn't work. So, I wasn't a big kid, pretty much. I wasn't a physically big kid, but there was kids that are other big kids and stronger kids. So kind of, I was obsessed with that. I was obsessed how you could build your body up and how strength training could, develop you physically. And I was intrigued by it. And that kind of kicked me off at 14 years old. And at 15, my sister, my twin sister, who is very the opposite of me, firstly, but very, how do I put it, very different to me, very, I'm not going to say very smart because that makes me the opposite, very stupid, fuck. But we're just different people. We're different people, like different things, very, very different, like fucking very different. But that's not to say I don't love her. I do, I always will, but we're just very different people. It's crazy we're twins, but we're very different. When we're young, we're very close. Not so much now, but at the end of the day, she's still my sister. Do I agree with everything she says? Fuck no. Do I like everything she says? Fuck no. Does she annoy me a lot? Yes, but at the end of the day, she's blood, and I respect her. For what she's done in her career, I respect. She works for the government. You can imagine how much I like that. And she does really well. So, she did, after school, she did undergrad of science at Melbourne. She did Masters of Science at Melbourne. So, man, fuck, I went to fucking VU for fuck's sake. Imagine that. Your parents like, my daughter goes to Melbourne Uni, studies science. Oh, where does your son go? VU. A bit different. And she actually ended up going from there. Then she did. She tried to do a doctor of veterinary science. They didn't let her in at vet science in Melbourne, yet she did a Masters of Science at Melbourne and got good grades, but didn't let her in because there's only a certain amount of places, and this is how fucked up the uni system is. They give it to fee-paying students from overseas, which is crazy. How she can do it there, but they give it to fee-paying students. Once again, the unis, for everyone out there, I'll quickly say this, the unis are a fucking business. If you don't know that, you're either fucking an imbecile or very, very stupid. Either one, but the unis are a business, bums on seat, they'll rather get fee-paying. That's how it is. And this is why they need fee-paying students to come in the country to pay, because it's a fucking business. So she went for that, didn't get it, and she got it up in Queensland and moved up there for like a year or 2 years, didn't like it, came back, and then got a job with the government. So good on her. I'm happy for her. But my sister brought home this pamphlet from a year when we were 15. It was like a careers fair. And she brought home this pamphlet. And the pamphlet said, do you want to make fitness your career? And she brought it home for me. And I still remember, and I've got it, even though I would always do fitness because that's always something I love, but it was crazy she brought that home. And that made me realize, holy fuck, you can do this for a career. And this was year 9. Year 8, year 9. I can't remember exactly, but year 8, year 9. Let's say give or take then, right? And that's when I started going, holy fuck, you can make this as a career. And I remember the pamphlet was AIF, Australian Institute of Fitness back then. I was like, holy fuck, I didn't know about this. Crazy, blah, 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 blah. Then in year 10, I did work experience, and this is a shout out to Greg Moody. Greg was a coach of mine at Bentley, and he owned a gym called the gym was Church Street, Brighton. It was Church Street Gym in Brighton, and he owned it. And I ended up doing work experience there, and that's when I knew I wanted to do. I didn't think back then, I can't remember when I started wanting to own a gym. I think I've always wanted to own a gym. But I wanted to become a trainer more. Like, I was obsessed with, after I did that 2-week work experience, it exposed me to the world of fitness that I was like, holy fuck, this is a job. You can actually do this as a job. And I remember going there, and I'd wake up and I'd go there and I'd help out with these sessions. I would go, I'd train. And I just remember being immersed and meeting everyone. Everyone was really cool. And I was like, sick, this is fucking cool. I actually want to do this. Shout out to Greg Moody, who was he was my football club coach. And when I got down there, it was just good fun. So that's a shout out to Greg. But I enjoyed it, and that kind of opened me up to, holy shit, that's what I kind of want to do. going on. So that was probably year 10. After year 10, year 11, it starts getting more serious. You start thinking, okay, what do you want to do for a career? And for me, I was never like an academic. And what I mean by that is, and just so happens I've been diagnosed with ADHD now, which is crazy because it kind of makes sense. And I know everyone out there's going to go, yeah, no fucking shit, you got ADHD. But yes, I get it. But being diagnosed is crazy because then you realise what happens is with ADHD, if you don't really like something, so let's say, for example, with school, I don't think school's for everyone. Like, look at me. I ended up getting a fucking pretty much master's degree nearly, and I fucking didn't even like school. But school's not for everyone because everyone learns differently. I think with ADHD, what I found out is if you don't like something, you're not going to put effort in. You're kind of not going to do it. You're going to leave it till the last minute. That's what I did with most school, apart from PE and health. And that's why I knew that I was going to do something with PE and health because I always loved it. And I remember around that time, when it was 2003, 2004. 2004 was when I finished school. Fuck, I sound old. In year 12. And 2004 was the time, or 2005 was the time I first heard about this young man, young coach, I wouldn't say young coach, but this coach who was from America. And I used to read his stuff and I was like, holy shit, this guy's incredible. This guy's in the private sector. Like, but back then, remember, there was really there was no private sector in Australia for athlete development. I used to read this guy. His name was Joe Defranco, and I used to read him, and I was like, holy shit, this guy like trains athletes in his private facility. Like, it's like a gym, but in the private sector. And he used to train pro athletes, but he used to train every athlete. And I was like, this is crazy. I couldn't get over it. I still was reading his shit, and I was like, holy shit, you can train athletes this way, and you can train an athlete a certain way and you can develop their strength, their power, their speed, their mobility, their conditioning to improve their performance in sport. And that's the exact time when I started thinking, holy shit, there could be, this is my, I changed thinking from training general population to training athletes. That's not to say that I was never going to train general population, but I started actually thinking, holy shit, fuck, this is pretty respect, but I don't want to say this, but there's a meme that fucking I laugh about every time. I don't know if anyone's seen it. It's like, wing, wing, harrow. Have you seen it? It just does my fucking head in every time. A quick backstory about Ring Ring Harrow is a young Asian kid. If you want to get the photo up, I've got mates who are Asian. This is why the whole thing started. You can put up a photo. Remind yourself at this time. Ring Harrow. Can you find it for me, please? When you find it, we'll put it up at this time. So have a look. Donnie, please do your job. I love you heaps, but it's called Wing Ring Harrow. Anyway, it's a quick backstory on Ring Ring Harrow. At school, at library, I used to print off copies of Ring Ring Harrow and put around all the school. That is an all-time classic. Okay, moving on. So this is about 2004. I finished my school. And for everyone out there, I get a very, very bad ATAR. Very bad. So I realised by this stage, holy shit, you can do sports science. I started realising there's science behind sport. Holy fuck, I want to do it. Anyway, turns out that I don't have the grades to do it. So for everyone out there who says, oh, you've got to have the grades and all this shit. And by the way, back then, to get into sports science at Deakin, here's a crazy thing actually for everyone out there. Back when I went through uni, when I started TAFE to do Cert 3 and 4, there was like 1 or 2 unis doing sports science. Then they've realised it's a big route. You can make heaps of money off it. It's literally printing money doing sports science because every kid wants to do it because you can live your dream training athletes and not get paid. Holy shit. And the unis know they can say it and you'll do it. So what I'm saying is every uni these days offers it. Back then, 1 or 2 did. Maybe even 3. Deakin, ATAR, back then to get into sports science, 89. And by the way, the ATAR is not off the level of the IQ of how hard the course is. It's based on how many students want to do it. And back then, Deakin was 89 because most kids who do sports science, the reason why, in my opinion, sports science is so diluted is because you get kids who want to get into physio who don't get the grades and they go into fucking sports science and they go to physio. That's why we get so many pencil neck dickheads in this fucking career. People just don't know what the fuck they're doing because they want to do physio. Go figure. Anyway, no offense to physios out there who are actually good, but you all know what I think of your industry, and it's not good. Personally, I actually could do a whole episode on what I think of physios, but I'll leave it for another day. I realised that I can do sports science. I didn't get grades good enough, so what I did was I did it the opposite way. I actually got into at TAFE Cert 3 and 4, and then I did a diploma of sport and recreation. Fuck, that's right. That's right. I did a diploma of sport and recreation, and on top of that, I got event management. That's right. Fuck, I even forgot about that. I did a literally diploma of event management. So even in theory, I can run events, which I'm terrible at, and I wouldn't do it myself. I'll get Kieran to do it, but I got that. But the reason why I did that is because I did back then. By the way, they wanted more people in the industry. So Cert 3 I did for free. Cert 4 for $59 on my healthcare card or something. It's crazy. Back then, they were trying to pump people in the industry. So what the government do is they look at certain sectors that they're going to see is growing and they offer it so more people can do it so it's cheap. So I did it for fuck all. So these days, it costs like fucking $6 grand to do Cert 3 and 4, I'm pretty sure. I did it for free pretty much, $69 because I did it for free with my sport and recreation course. They literally offer for free and my mum's like, well, you should do it. And I'm like, I still remember saying no to it. I was like, I want to do this as a career. And I said no. I don't know why I said no. I can't remember exactly. But anyway, I did it. And the teacher who took me was fucking hot. I can't remember her name, but she was good looking. Fuck. I can't remember her name. Anyway, Cert 3 and 4, I did it at TAFE and it was fantastic. And the chick was hot. It was great. I remember the boys were like, oh, someone ask her out. And back then I was I was different back then. I didn't have tattoos. I wasn't this man you see today. I was a lot less, I didn't have that much confidence back then. I was just a kid. I was skinny. You know, I was 18, 19 years old. Just, what do you know? And this woman was a woman. She actually was very smart. I can't remember her name. I'm sorry. I can't remember her name, but very good. She was actually very smart and I loved it. And she was really good. And I remember doing Cert 3 and 4 there, or either that, or I did Cert 4 somewhere else. I can't remember exactly. This is bringing me way back when I was 18. So this is like, 19 years ago. So anyway, I did it. And that's how everything started. So I did my Cert 3 and 4. I got this diploma of sport and recreation and event management. What the fuck? Who would have thought of that, event management? And I did that. So then once I've done that, right, then I realised, well, I want to train athletes. I really want that base level of knowledge. I want to do a degree in sports science. That's really what I wanted to do. So what I did was I went for every uni. Like every uni I tried for, I think 4 unis. I tried Deakin. I tried every uni. No uni accepted me apart from VU in Footscray Park. I'm like, holy fuck. So I've got to go all the way from Ormond to fucking Footscray Park. Oh my fucking God. And if you know anything about VU or Footscray Park, it's a fucking hike. So I did it. I got into Footscray. It was the only one I could take. I took it. I got in. And at this stage, I think I tried to get a job in the industry. There was a few options. And back then, I was doing in this career before social media. So before, I think there was, what was it called? MySpace? I think there was MySpace. No, there was MySpace back then. I'm pretty sure there was no Facebook back then because Facebook started in 2006, I think. But what I'm trying to say is back then, the gyms used to rate people for money. What I mean by that is they used to sign you, if you want to be a trainer at these gyms, it's pretty much 300, 350, 250 minimum, but I'd say between 3 to 350. You have to sign a year deal and they'll rate you because back then, pretty much the only way you could get clients is start at a gym, build your name up. There was no, or marketing was like paper drops, like leaflet drops or like fuck. I don't even know how it was just being good at your job really and then having a place where people knew you. You have to build your name up. But these days, the reason why they can't rate people for money, and they did it to themselves really, these global gyms like Fitness First was massive back in the day. Genesis, I'll tell you a story about Genesis. I used to work for them, but Genesis, these big gyms, Virgin, what they would do, they would get a young coach, a young trainer in, because you think about it. If you do a Cert 3 and 4, you do an undergrad in sports science, what do you end up doing? Because you're either, you want to work in pro sport, and back then it wasn't, it wasn't that big back then in terms of education. People, they kind of kept not that many people wanted to go for it, or the clubs wouldn't let them, or the clubs weren't that open, or it wasn't that well known, because that wasn't that big in Australia, big in America, not big in Australia. So you'd kind of want to start your career, and you'd have to go to this gym, right, like a big commercial gym. And for you to work there, you'd have to pay rent, exorbitant rent, and it'd be built up over time, and you have to sign a contract for a year. No ifs, no buts, no nothing. Which is crazy if you think about it, because you're just a young guy, young person. My dad would never get over this. And you have to pay rent straight away. They wouldn't do like a percentage split, nothing. It's like 300 rent a week, or you can't do it. And what would happen is you get young trainers, wet behind the ears, and then straight away you have to sell. You've got to, and which is, there's good and bad points to it, because one, you learn how to sell quick, but you kind of thrown in the deep end straight away, and it's less about coaching and programming, which is your job, and more about sales, because you got to make rent. These days, the gyms can't do that, because people look at online. Everyone's an online coach these days. You can have no qualifications and call and have a big profile and call yourself a coach, online coach, and sell fucking generic programs. So the gyms can't get, a lot of gyms can't get trainers anymore, because they're like, why would I do this and pay 200, 250, 300 a week for a year when I can just fucking go online and fucking do it spasmodically? I don't ever have to do it at a fucking gym. So fuck the gyms, really. They did it to themselves, and they try to fuck the industry. For me, my whole thing is, you weren't doing, like, at the end of the day, it was like a monopoly. Now they're fucked on. They really can't get trainers, because everyone's woken up to it. So fuck them. They did it to themselves, in my opinion. And they treated people like shit during it. But people did it to themselves because they really didn't understand the industry well enough. It's not an industry where you can leave a job and then go to this job and be like, I want 50 hours a week coaching. It doesn't work that way. You got to build your name up. So for anyone out there, you have to build your name up. You've got to build your name up. You got to get results. You got a proven track record for people to come to you. It's not like any other career. You got to understand this career, and you got to start young as well, in my opinion. I mean, I started 19. I started 20, 19 around there. So I've been in long enough to understand it back to front. So back then, so this is when I got into uni, and I did an undergrad. I realised I had to start coaching or start applying this craft. And this is where a lot of young trainers and coaches go wrong, where they do a degree and they don't start applying it. It's fucking crazy. How do you not fucking, it's your job. Like, they're like, oh, I should do more study. How does that make any fucking sense? Oh, more knowledge, which I get, knowledge is power. But do you know what's even more powerful than knowledge? The application of knowledge for results. So for anyone out there, you can talk all you want about letters behind your name. Oh, I've got a master's. I've got this. I've got that. I've got all this theory. Yes, mate, you've got all this theory, but you've got nowhere to apply it. Show me your results. Show me your body of work. Show me how you get an athlete from point A to B. Show me how you got these individual results. Show me that. Show me what worked for you. Show me what didn't work. You know, that's in the trenches. That's getting your hands fucking dirty. That's what I respect. You know, I've been doing this long enough. For me, I don't give a flying fuck about my degree, really. Yeah, it's good to have, all my honours. But for me, it's a result. That's what I get paid for. I had a kid just downstairs signed up with me. ACL, rupture, coming back to sport without an ACL, conservative management. He wouldn't come to me if he knew that I fucking didn't get results. People come here. I built the Woodford name off fucking results. Science-based fucking results that fucking work. Woo! Woo! That's why, baby. Results. That's how I do it. So, yeah, you can have all the knowledge in the world. If you can't apply, it's fucking useless. This is where they go wrong. They think that, oh, I've got to get a master's degree. You know what's funny, Donny? If you travel the same road as everyone else, you're going to get the same results. If you do something different, yeah, you might fucking be different to everyone else, and yeah, you might get criticised, but you're going to get different results. And in my opinion, that's what I did for Woodford, and I'm going to explain my story. So, this is a long-winded way to start off my story anyway. But anyway, I started applying, and there was a little gym, right? I looked around at every fucking gym I fucking interviewed with. Every fucking gym. And I mean, every gym would say this. Either this. Or, do you have, so anytime I try to get a job, like as an instructor, oh, do you have experience? Well, no. How do I get experience without getting experience? Oh, well, come back when you got experience. Or they'd say this. Oh, yeah, you can do it, but it's 300 rand a week. I said, pardon? Yeah, it's 300 rand per week. And my old man being an accountant, bookkeeper, wouldn't let me sign it. And I probably would never do it because I'd be like, well, that's kind of stupid. I need experience first. Anyway, I was lucky enough to have I was going to give up. And this is me giving up. I was going to fuck it, I'll just wait. But thank God I didn't. I actually went to a meeting with a woman called Billy Parsons. and she was a gym manager at a little gym called Adam and Eve. Shout out to my Adam and Eve crew, right? This gym in Oakley called Adam and Eve, right? And I went in there and I was like, fuck it. I'm going to throw fucking everything at this and just fucking hope she gives me a chance. So I went in there passionate, and she could see, she obviously saw something because I had no experience, but all I said was, I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to turn up at any time. I'm willing to have this a crack. I want to make this my fucking career. I'll run through walls for this fucking career. And I've still got fucking, this is crazy because I get interns at Woodford who are like, I'm happy. I can't turn up at this time because even though I said I could turn up, but I can't turn up now because I got this. And it's like, if I fucking had a Woodford back then, I would have fucking rocked up to whoever the owner was, like Jamie Smith did. I would have rocked up and been like, what do I fucking have to do to work here? I would have killed to have something like this. I still get fucking interns in it. It's like, fuck off, man. Like, no offense to them or anything, but fuck off. It's like, man, I'd do anything, but these kids don't know how lucky you have it right now. And that's nothing against my interns or I'm singling out anyone, because if I was singling out anyone, I'd fucking call their name out, but I'm not. Just generally how I haven't met someone like me. The closest I would say to me would be DeCranis, but he ain't Woodford. He just isn't me. He just doesn't have that next level to him. Good coach, very good coach. Be very pleased to know me. I would love to meet someone like me, and it would be crazy. It might be my son, Christian Jr., but you never know. But I always want to be like, I just wish I met someone, and the closest would have to be Dirk. If I'd say anyone, it'd be Dirk, but I haven't met that person be like, and Dirk is him, but he's just 5% off. I want to meet me when I was younger. I loved someone, there's a challenge to anyone, to come to me to be like, I want to be the next you. I want to fucking run this industry. I love it. But too many people are half-hearted, Doesn't work that way. You're in this industry, you're either all in or you're not. So I threw everything at Billy, and she goes, you know what? I'm going to give you an opportunity. And she gave me an opportunity. And for the rest of my fucking life, I told her for the rest of my fucking life. And by the way, on my resume, when I had this resume, I wish I still had it, was if you give me a shot, I wrote it on the bottom, and bold italic, if you give me a shot one day, I'll tell I'll be the best. I'll be the best. I remember I wrote personal trainer, but these days coach, but I didn't know back then how, coaches, trainers. I'll be the best coach in the world, and you won't regret it. Give me an opportunity. I promise you I'll be the best, and always tell everyone when you gave me the first shot. So Billy Parsons, thank you for giving me a shot, because I would have been fucked without you. So sometimes you have to throw everything at it and just go after it. And I did. I went after it, and I was lucky I got that opportunity, because without it, it wouldn't have opened all these doors for me as well. So, yeah, she gave me that shot, and it allowed me to get paid a little bit of money, even a little bit, and it was really cool. And that gym got taken over by Genesis. Now, the old owner of Adam and Eve, mate, in the contract, she said, you can't fire any of the old staff. Can't fire it. She got paid out big money. I don't know how much, but I got told it was a lot of money. I don't know. I can't speculate, but a lot of money. And she said, in the contract, they said, what they tried to do was get all the trainers. So how they were doing it at Adam and Eve was a split like percentage for the one-on-ones, and it was like they used to do like hours on the gym floor, which was cool because I could get paid without having pressure on me. The minute a Genesis came in, they changed the whole thing. They tried to get everyone on contract. For years, they tried to get me. I still remember for years they used to try to get me on contract. I used to say the same thing, fuck off. Never going to happen. And they were cool. Like, they were cool because they knew, like, they just gave me a split, and I was happy with it because I was at uni. I was still studying. I could still do other stuff in terms of team-based athlete development or strength and conditioning to get my experience up. Yeah, it was really cool where I didn't have the pressure on me. So when they came in, kind of, it changed the demographic a bit. Now I think about it, probably for the good, because we were a gym that wasn't a big gym, but it was still pretty cool. I was still getting a lot of experience with general population, a fuckload. Like, I still remember my first session. I had no fucking idea. And Billy's like, you got to take Paul. Paul, I'd still remember him. This old guy, legend of a bloke. He ended up buying 20 PTs off me. And I took him through one session, and I had no fucking idea. This is why this gym, when you come to this gym, Woodford or strength coach or fucking anywhere that knows what they're doing, and under good coaches, is so important to learn under. You need to invest, because that's going to help you with your career. So people need to start, like, this is why it pains me when people don't invest in their career, because you can just become better. And By you becoming better, you can help others, and then your career grows. But when I started, I had none of this shit. I'm like, holy fuck, what the fuck am I doing? And I went from machine to machine to machine. No fucking idea. But anyway, he didn't know I didn't know what I was doing, but fuck, I just kind of faked it. And I was like, holy fuck, mate, I need to start knowing what the fuck I'm doing here. And then what I did was I started realizing that I needed to invest. This goes to the investment. And I invested in a trainer there. And I started training with them and like learning about main lifts, which was fucking sick because I knew the core of my coaching would be these main lifts. So I started learning about which turned out to be my big six: hinge squat, horizontal push, horizontal pull, vertical push, vertical pull, and the modifications and lateralizations to it. So I started understanding about that stuff. And it was really cool because I could still get paid with the split, and I still had my client base, and I'd go to uni. And then back then I did a lot of work experience with, I can go over the whole thing, but had work experience. I remember it. I'll go through all the places. It was, and this is over a period of time, but this is while I was at uni as well. So what I kind of thought was, I'd go to uni, I'd get all this theory, I'd network, but then also I'd apply my knowledge. Even if I didn't get paid, I didn't really give a fuck because back then it was very hard to even get. It's even hard to get paid back now. But back then I thought, okay, well, let's build my resume, let's build my skill set, let's build my my application, let's build my body of work so people, can hire me when I want to be hired. And back then, by the way, I didn't. Because I was reading Joe Defranco, I always wanted to work. First of all, I've seen my dad have his own business, so I've always wanted to work for myself. I've always wanted to work in the private sector. Always wanted to be Joe Defranco. So for me, I've always wanted to work there. I never really wanted to work in pro sport. A lot of people do it because I think they do it because it's like a cool thing, but like I never really wanted to. But I'll tell you about my experience, what I've done. So Oakley Chargers, I remember I was a strength coach there for 1 year while I was a high performance manager. I was a fitness coach at Melbourne Victory for the youth team. I just helped out with one of my mates. We did that for our hours, which was pretty cool. I actually got paid for this job. I was the head sports scientist for Victoria Under 14 Metro at the National Carnival. It was up in Noosa. It was actually pretty cool. I actually got paid for that, which was crazy. That was really cool. That was just I took the recoveries, the warm ups, I'd do the nutrition, the hydration, all that stuff. That was really cool. So that was head sports scientist at Vic Metro. I was head strength and conditioning coach at BlackRock for 1 year before I actually went to America. That was cool. I got paid for that, and I played. I was a trainer and I wrote rehab coach at Genesis. So I was at Genesis for like 6 years. I was a strength and conditioning coach of the Victorian Eagles Gridiron team, which also led to the assistant strength and conditioning coach of Gridiron Australia. I used to write the programs for Gridiron Australia for the Victorian boys who were in the Australian team. And then I was a physical prep coach as an intern at the Victorian Institute of Sport for a year. Did do a year there. And that's what led on to the point that changed my life was when I got an internship at Maryland football in NCAA Division 1 in the USA. That changed my life because what I found, and for everyone out there, if you're a young coach and you're struggling, you're like, well, I can't really get experience, or the experience is not that good, or the exposure to the athlete's not that good, go to America. It shits on AFL in terms of athlete development. Even the S&C athlete development over there is 50 times higher than anything you can get here. And it just develops you. I went from an average coach to a very good coach when I came back because the exposure, we call it exposure to reps. So what happens is the more exposure to high quality reps you get that you can see that you can coach, the better you're going to get. I was coaching NFL players. Think about that. I went from the VIS to coaching NFL players in my first week in America at 25 years old. And that changed me. Going over there, first time overseas, maturing, learning about a different culture, being exposed to this high-level coaching reps, coaching high-level athletes for total athletic development, strength, power, speed, change direction, conditioning, mobility, recovery, nutrition, hydration, the whole thing in that high-performance environment was unbelievable. And Maryland are a Big Ten school, and that's huge, and exposed me to something that most people would never see. And that's how I got better at that level. And that's when I knew I could coach. And I remember after the third week, the head guy came up to me, Coach Wilson, Coach Weber, Coach Clausen. I stayed with Coach Clausen over there, respect to him. But in the third week, Coach Wilson, who's is a strength and conditioning coach in an NFL team at the moment, I think the New England Patriots, I'm pretty sure. he just said, listen, you're really good. We rate you. And that's when I knew I could roll. That's when I knew I was a good coach. I said, fuck this, I'm believing in myself. And for everyone out there, you have to believe in yourself as a coach because no one else is going to do it for you. You've got to believe in your backing. You've got to believe in what you do. You've got to believe in your coaching. You've got to believe in communication, relationship building. You've got to believe that you can do a good job. You've got to believe the buy-in, and you've got to get them to buy in to get the results. And that's when I knew, holy fuck, I'm good at this. This is what I was meant to do in life. I knew that was my fucking purpose. I lived, breathed, eat, shitted. And I still, to this fucking day, regardless of all the bullshit that goes on sometimes, regardless of all that white noise, the one thing that I know that I fucking love in this world is my purpose, my fucking passion. It's athlete development, strength and conditioning, and training in general. I fucking love it. And I fucking could talk all day on this subject because I fucking love it. So if you're fucking wondering you want to do this career, you have to fucking love it. You've got a deep burn inside you. It's got to come from here. And I truly fucking love it. I love helping athletes. I love helping people of all walks of life help with their health and fitness or their physical preparation or their recovery, regeneration or their fucking rehab needs. I fucking love this job. And that's when my purpose came on. And I saw something. And it wasn't in Australia, it was in America. Because Australia here, I'll always love Australia. America is 10 times better for athlete development and in the industry than ours. It's just how it is. Our industry is very closed off. Very, very closed off. So I'll give you an example. In America, you could message a Div 1 college and you could say, listen, can I come down and just watch and ask you questions? They'll allow it, which is higher level than AFL. But what I mean by that higher level, more money than AFL. You look at the gyms in AFL compared to college, you laugh. But we think AFL is like the best. Oh, it's so good for athlete development. Fuck off. All the players go there. It's always funny now, actually, Donnie. All the players go there in the off season now. I've been saying that for years. I'd do it. It's just different level over there, like levels. You got levels, and their levels higher. And you look over there, and it's like, it's just so. They're so more open to it, exchanging ideas. Like in Australia here, it's like, oh, no, you can't do that out of fear. You're going to lose your job. Dumb fuck. I don't want your job for fucking 60 hours for 40 grand, fuckwit. There's just so many people here just insecure. And over there, it's a lot different. They're a lot more open. They're a lot more cool to talk shop. You could message someone here. It's like, I don't know. They're just fucking, I don't know what the matter with some of these blokes are. It's a closed shop here. Like once you're in, you never leave. It's just recycle. Regardless, let's say if you had shit injury rates or people know you're no good. I've seen their programs, yet they still get a job. It's fucked up, but it's how it is. That's why I want the private sector because one, I can control my destiny. Two, I'm not going to suck cock for fucking money. A lot of people do. It's just like playing politics. I'm not going to play politics. And I just do what I do. I can say what the fuck I want. And I think here it's very closed off. It's very closed-minded. Over there, you can go there. You talk with, you can message a college and you can go down there. Here, they won't do it here. It's just, it's annoying, but hopefully it's gotten better. I think it has gotten better because the private sector's developed a lot more. Back when I started in this industry, there was no private sector. None for athlete development. None. Look, now, 2012, I started Woodford. Look at the difference in terms of how many fucking athlete development gyms there are now. They're fucking huge, and I think I played a massive part, if I'm not the main catalyst behind it. Personally, I think I was the main catalyst myself. I think Durham was one of the first. I'll give him respect, of course, but I was one of the first to really promote it heavily on social media. And I'm proud of it, man. I'm proud of what I've achieved, what Woodford's achieved, and how we've helped others create their dream. And it's funny, actually. Fuck, man. It's funny when I get an athlete who might go to another gym, a performance gym, and they're like, oh, fuck, man, I didn't know they fucking interned under you or they fucking learned under you or they I mentored them. It's like anyone who's gone and done anything on this industry has fucking been mentored by me or been networked with me. It's a small industry like that, but it's crazy to watch, and I'm really proud of it, or proud of the guys who've come through me and gone on to do great things, which is fantastic because that's what I wanted. One of my roles, one of my things was to create a figurehead in the industry so people can look to, even if it's towards negatively being like, oh, fucking I like him, I don't like him. Hey, you're still fucking talking about me, and that's one thing I wanted. I wanted to get people talking. And if I got people talking, you talk Woodford, you talk athlete development, and that's all I wanted. And you talk athlete development, we get the ball rolling for more people know about it. And I know what I'm doing. I know, like when I back then, I knew what I was doing in terms of I had to get, and I had to when I came back. And this is, we could go on all day about this, but maybe I'll leave it for part two how I actually started Woodford because it's going to take another hour to talk about this. So this is the origins, and then this part two will be actually how I started Woodford. But the main reason, once I we're in America, when I came back, I had no money left, and I had an option to either go back, and I reckon I would have gone back and got a job at some stage. The good thing about America is there's a lot more jobs, obviously more per capita, more people, I get that. But the thing about America, what I love is if you're passionate and you're good at your job, you will get a job at some stage in America. Here, not so much, because there's not as much buy-in into athlete development. It's huge over there. They fucking love it. They buy into it. They go after it. We're more sports science here, which there's hardly any jobs in. I'm not saying it's bad, but it is what it is. But I remember when I was in America, and I've been back a lot of times to upskill now, 6 times now. I've been back to America since that point. But how do I put it? That was my moment. We talk about your purpose. That was my purpose. When I was over there, I found a purpose. And I knew my purpose was 2 things. 1, to create change in Australia in terms of athlete development market. And 2 was to become the best I could be and make Woodford not just an Australian known brand, but a world renowned brand, and become the best I can be the next Joe Defranco in Australia. And it just so happens, and I'll talk about part 2, when I actually did a podcast with my idol, Joe Defranco. He called me the Australian version of Defrancos, which is fucking crazy when you think about it, because I was fighting since I was 15, 16, and I wanted to become him. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting next to the man in America in his studio. Man, fuck, what a story that was, hey? It's cool, man, like life like that, when you go after something and you find, you reach certain points of your life and you work hard and you get there. But it hasn't been all smooth sailing. It's been up, it's been down. I've thought about quitting, and we can talk about this in part 2. But this is still when I was in America, but like crazy. That's when I knew my purpose was, hey, I'm going to come back. I'm going to become the man in the industry, the private sector. I'm going to create I still remember coming back, how many people saying, oh, there's no market for it. There's no market for training athletes in the private sector. 12 years on, 13 years on now. I've been doing this for a full-time job for 13 years. Crazy, hey? I'm making good money from it as well. Good money, where at the point I could have bought about 4 fucking houses. I had a good time though, but I've lived a good life. Like, I'm living a good life. I've got this is my full-time job, coaching athletes. Crazy. Talking to Donnie. Talking to you guys. This is my full-time job. Who would have thought? But when I started, I got so many negative, and this is a point which I want to tell everyone while I'm trying to talk about this story, and we'll talk about it in point 2, is go after what you want, because life is fucking short. But when I started Woodford, the amount of people said there was no market, well, then make a fucking market. Go out and make a market. Be passionate. Be driven. Go after it. Post about your passion. Show what you can do. Show, at the end of the day, the thing that I want to put across, I use social media as a means to get my message across. And at the end of the day, my message, I'm a problem solver. So what I was doing was I gave people a service that people wanted in terms of what I'm solving a problem. So I'm offering a service that solves their problem. And in this case, it's about training. So most people, what I did was I used education, I used science and art. And back then, no one was using the art. No one was putting out videos about training athletes. We use a bilateral squat to improve lower body strength so they can jump higher, run quicker. We use a hip dominant bent leg hip extension, develop the posterior chain, develop the glutes in isolation so we can maximize sprinting or jumping performance, whatever it is, or injury reduction. That's what I was trying to get the point across. People are like, holy shit, there's a science behind training where you can maximize athletic performance. And that's how Woodford was begun, because I came back, I knew my purpose. My purpose was to train athletes in the private sector. I want to become the man. I want to develop the athlete. I want to develop applied sports science in Australia in the private sector, and I want to train athletes. And I did it. And this is before how I can explain how I started Woodford, but this is when I came back. I was dirt broke, and I just knew that I've done it. I was at the point in my life where it's either now or never. I was either going to make a career or not. And so many people just choose another career or don't leave the industry. And it's like, well, do I want to become like everyone else, or do I want to change the game? And do I want to become the best? And do I want to become, I always just say to myself, I want to look back at my life when I'm 80, if I live that long, to be like, fuck, I did everything I wanted to do in my life, and I wasn't worried about what people thought about me. And I think the biggest thing about the reason why people don't do it, because they're out of fear, out of people calling them out, or out of fear of judging them. The one thing I will say is, if you live your life like that, you're never going to achieve anything in life. And for me, I remember people used to say, aren't you worried? I used to get a lot of negative comments, especially from certain people I used to go after, like CrossFitters and shit, which now I don't give a fuck, because CrossFit's a sport within itself. It's a string sport. But people used to be like, do you care about the negative comments, all this shit? Well, no. I don't give a fuck. It is what it is. People either like me or not. That's their issue. And you're going to either have once you be yourself and your authentic self, the right people come into your life. And people, it does. And that's not to say some of the comments don't hurt, because you're fucking human. Of course it does. But I got to a stage in my life where it was like, well, I can either worry about what people say and not do anything and not achieve anything, or I look at another way where people are talking about me because there's a reason that people talk about it. People know who I am. So I'm obviously doing something right. And that's how I put it. People used to have always opinion. I went out to nightclubs and everyone's like, oh, my mate knows you, but he's like not sold on your methods. He thinks your methods don't work. And I'm like, I'm the man in the fucking arena. I'm the fucking guy who's fucking doing it, and your mate's just fucking sitting in pot shotting. Hey, for everyone out there, it's a lot easier. I'd rather be the man in the arena, and I'd rather be the man hated on than the actual person hating on people. At least I'm doing it. That's the way I see it anyway. And I always used to be like, so what's your mate doing? Oh, my mate works here, but he's doing sports science. Okay. I used to be like, okay, so I'm living my dream. I'm coaching people. I'm getting results. I'm getting proven results, yet you're pot-shotting me. Your mate's he doesn't believe in my methods. I don't give a fuck if he believes in my methods because all I care about is results, and I'm getting results, and I'm getting people do me. So at the end of the day, fuck them. And that's a good lesson for everyone out there, is do what you feel like's in your heart. Be passionate. Actually care, at the end of the day, show that you care, be authentic, and the right people coming in life. And that's why the origins part 1 of Woodford, before I started Woodford, and the issue, like how I started Woodford, that's the origins before we started Woodford. This is me coming back from America. So I had to have the balls to do it, and I said, fuck it. I remember, I'll leave you guys on this. 50 minutes in, I'll leave you on this, but this has been a real good story. But I remember I looked at myself in the mirror every fucking day, and this is going to sound real weird, but I did it. I used to look in the mirror and say, I'm Christian Woodford. I'm going to become the biggest name and the best strength and conditioning coach in Australia and the world one day. I used to say that every day to get up. I used to say it when I used to get up, and I say, I've got to go after it. I've got to be, I've got to go after it. I've got to be passionate, and at the end of the day, I had to stop giving a fuck what people thought about me, and I had to go after what I wanted. And I used to say to people, and this is another thing I used to say, in 10 years' time, we'll look back who was right and who was wrong. And all those people who used to give me shit, where are you? What are you doing in your life? Probably still hating, not living your dream. And the reason why people hate on me, because I was living my dream. And I still am right now. So hopefully that inspires someone out there to go, well, fuck. And I've inspired a lot of people to change their career, but hopefully inspires someone to go, fuck it, I'm going to go after it. And every day in the mirror, I used to look at myself and say, I am this guy. I'm going to go after it. I'm going to change the game in Australia and be the man. And I was sick. I used to say to myself, oh, someone else will go and change the industry in Australia in the private sector and create a private sector. And do you know what? I said, fuck it. Why someone else? Why not me? And that's why I did it. If you have any questions, let me know. This is part 1 though. Part 2 in 2 weeks, we will talk about how I started Woodford, like how I got that gym, then the 4 other gyms and why they collapsed, and then the rehab process, and you guys will hear everything. I'll tell you the nuts and bolts of it, but that's 50 minutes. So I kind of thought it would take about 2 hours to talk about this, but that is part 1, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. This is Woodford, or Ask Woodford, or whatever the fuck we're going to call it again, but thank you, Donnie, as always, and hopefully you guys got a lot, as much as I got out of this. I will see you guys next time for part 2 of the origins of starting Woodford.